Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tomorrow. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this yaqeen that we need. So there's one specific story, and through stories, a lot of times, it's a little bit easier to pass a message. A lot of times in the Holy Quran, there's many stories and qasas. There's many narrations of the different anbiya and their life stories from which a person can extract a lot of lessons. So one particular story that epitomizes the level of yaqeen that we ought to be having is a specific narration that's found in Riyadh al-Salihin. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala mentions, and this is also it's in some of the books of tafsir, under the verse in Surah Al-Buruj, قُتِلَ أَصْحَابُ الْأُخْدُودِ قُتِلَ أَصْحَابُ الْأُخْدُودِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending curses and la'na, saying that they will perish. Ashab al-Ukhdud, the people of the ditch, those people that were digging ditches to bury and to kill the mu'mineen and the believers at that respective time. So there's a story behind this. Now, what is that particular story? And this is what's narrated in that particular narration of Riyadh al-Salihin. The story goes as follows, that the hadith mentions that there was a particular king in the previous ummah. In the previous ummah, there was a king, and the particular kings of the past, they would be pagan, they would be mushrik, they would be polytheist. And a lot of times, they would attribute the uluhiyyat or the godhood to themselves. Even Fir'aun, he had made a claim, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la, I am your Rabb, I am your God, the Most High. Don't you see the Nile River flows underneath me? I am the one that gives you sustenance, I am the one that provides for you. Right? Very similar to maybe something of what the communists would kind of do in this day and age. You have no other religion, all religions banned. The government is your religion, the government is your God, the government is your provider, and that kind of mentality. So this type of king lived and he ruled that type of a government. Now, in the kings of the past, they would have their magician, their sorcerer. So the hadith mentions that this particular king and ruler, he had an aging magician, sorcerer, a wizard. And as he was getting older and older, and he perceived that I'm getting closer and closer to my own death, he told the king that find me in your kingdom a young boy that I can train, that I could teach all of this ilm and this ulum of witchcraft, so that the kingdom can continue with all of this wizardry. So it was done. They searched and they found a specific young child. And as I digress, any field, any science, any path, it rests on the shoulders of our youth. Look here. They have kufr, they have shirk, they have magic, sorcery, a kingdom, but they're in need of the youth, because the youth, they have that vigor, they have that strength, they have that future, they have that commitment, they have that sacrifice. How much are we spending on our youth? How much are we sacrificing for our youth? Right? They're the ones that are going to take the flag of Islam, when we're gone, when we're getting older. We need to pass this burden on to them to carry this deen of Islam forward. And all of this rests on the shoulders of the youth. If we don't recognize it as parents, if we don't recognize it as a masjid, if we don't recognize it as a school and a madrasa, they're ready and willing to recognize it. They will take our youth and they will train them, right? And they will teach them and they will utilize them, right? And we will have lost them. They will go towards kufr, they'll go towards disbelief, they'll go towards dunya, they'll go towards whatever direction, and they're willing to spend on your children. They're willing to teach your children. How much are we willing to spend on our child? We don't spend time with our children. We don't bring them to the masjid. We don't give them the training. Somebody's willing and ready to take them from your hands. Oh, I have the youth, I will take them. Just like this king. Find me the brightest, right? The smartest, the most hardworking youth out there. I'm going to utilize this person for my benefit. And just like the workforce, they're going to squeeze all of the potential out of this youth. all of his intellect, his capabilities, spending long hours throughout the night working for the betterment of what? Some particular company. IBM, Raytheon, this, that, the other. Right? The company's benefiting out of your child. Like we know, we work out there. Khususan here in the United States of America, it's a very hard working nation. We work so hard. By the time you're 45, 50, 55, 60, all of your potential is sucked out of you. And at the end, what it remains? All of your talents and capabilities are gone for some worldly benefit. It's all jaiz, it's all halal. We're not talking about that. But where did the production go? For what? Whereas if we would have used all of that power and that potential for the deen of Islam, where the deen of Islam would be today? That's something to think about. I know because in our madrasa, I'm seeing who is coming from the community, who is sending down children to study the deen of Islam. It's all the people that couldn't make it anywhere else. He flunked out of school, he failed out of there, and I threatened him that if you are not going to be careful and cautious in your high school, I'll put you in the madrasa. All of what we would call the rejects of society, when they failed everywhere else, when there's nowhere else that will take you, I'll put you in the madrasa. And still happily we will take them. We will still happily take them. And mashallah, the deen of Islam is such that they turn around, right? Like the diamonds in the rough. The people don't understand the potential of these youth. You might see them as that they have nothing to give to society. They have nothing. They're like kind of slow-minded, or they're this, or they're too much. They have too much shararat inside of them. They have too much of this wickedness inside of them. No. We just haven't tapped into their potential. And we'll take them, we'll turn them into these diamonds. Coming back to the story at hand, this particular youth, they found him. And he used to study at this particular wizard school, Harry Potter, all the youth that are here. It's the Harry Potter kind of version. So he went and studied by this magician, by this wizard, and he's studying the magic, and he's learning the magic. And day in and day out, he's going to attend his classes. One day on his journey to this particular class, he sees somebody sitting on the path. And it's a sheikh. It's a religious person, right? Of that particular ummah, the Islam of that day. And he's sitting on the path. And this child, he begins to speak with the sheikh, with this imam, with this Maulana, with this Hazrat, whatever name you want to give him. And he's enchanted by the speech because haqq, truth, the deen of Islam, the kalamullah, it's very attractive. We are attracted to the truth by very nature, by our fitrah. This makes a lot of sense. SubhanAllah, what I feel, what I hear, the contentment, the sukoon, and the tranquility that I understand here, no force of batil can ever compare with it. I do cool magic tricks, yeah, that's magic tricks, but the haqq is power. The haqq is sukoon. So this particular child, this youth, he was attracted that, subhanAllah, I love the teachings of the sheikh. The problem was now, every single day, he would run into this particular sheikh who would give him nasiha and advice and teach him about the deen of Islam. But he would be late when you get to the wizard. And the wizard and the magician would yell at him, you're always late. What kind of a student are you? You're never on time. You're never going to learn anything. So he's yelling. The student, he goes back to the stage, but how is your class? How is your class? Well, my teacher, he keeps on yelling and screaming, that, complaining, I'm not understanding. He says, okay, just do this, implement this particular hila, because this is a darura, this is a need, a necessity for you to learn your deen. When you go to the magician, tell him that my parents kept me. And then when you go to your parents, you just tell them the magician kept me, and each way I'll just teach you some of this deen on your way to and from the school when you go home. So they implemented this. Now what happened, this particular youth, he's learning both. He's learning the black magic sciences, right? Wizardry and all of this witchcraft. And he's learning the deen of Islam. He's learning the haqq. This continues and continues. Now, one particular day, in that village or in that country, wherever that they resided, a particular beast, whether it be a lion, a tiger, some sort of a predatory animal, came and ransacked the whole area and was causing a lot of difficulty and hardship to the people. So now this particular youth, as he's learning the magical sciences, but now he's learning the haqq as well. Inside, he felt that now I am split into two. I don't know which way to go. This way, it seems like in my worldly life, I can make it as a good magician. I can earn a very handsome monetary stipend from the king. I'm going to be comfortable in life. But there's something scratching at the heart. I go this way. I find the sukoon, I find the tranquility, I find the haqq, and I find the truth. So within himself, he makes this decision that today we're going to find out that which is the best path. So he picks up a rock and he picks up a particular stone. And he makes this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, I need confirmation. I've studied theory, right? The theory. And now I want to know haqiqatan, practical, right? Implementation. That, oh Allah, I want this, what they call ilm ladunni. I want this direct knowledge from your side. I want to see your power, I want to see your might. Theoretically, we all say, Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir. This is my theory. We say it, we try to profess it, and we try really hard to believe it, but it's very hard for us practically to understand it unless we don't see it. Like Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how, O Allah, do you resurrect the dead? Awala tu'min? O Ibrahim, don't you believe? No, I believe. وَلَكَنْ يَتْمِنَّ قَلْبِي. I just want itminan al-qalb. Right? I want itminan al-qalb. I want to see it because this is a whole different level of iman. This iman is like on the next level of yaqeen that we're talking about. So this youth, he makes this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he tries to make that kind of connection on that level of yaqeen. That, oh Allah, if what I am learning from this particular shaykh, if it is the haqq and it is the truth, like how I perceive it to be as such, then, oh Allah, with this rock, with this stone, with this pebble, free us from the calamity and the difficulty and all of the hardship that this particular beast is posing to us. Yani, rid us of this particular beast and kill him from the face of the earth. So he flings that rock and he throws that rock. And throwing the rock, what can a rock do to a lion? Seriously. Sometimes you shoot a lion even with a particular weapon, a handgun or something, the lion will continue to attack. It'll barely face it. But what a pebble is going to do. So he threw the rock at it with the bismillah and everything with the yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed the effect in that small pebble and that predator animal was killed. Now the people who were troubled, who were put in so much difficulty because of that particular animal, what do people normally do? Society, what do? They always look to the hero. And they made this small little youth, this kid, the hero. Then what other people couldn't do, what the police forces couldn't do, what the army's men couldn't do, this small little boy came and he single-handedly killed this huge lion, this beast. So they raise you up on the shoulders and they do all of these kind of things. Now the people, when they witnessed this, they said that this boy, this child is special. So slowly, and when this happens, when a person is turned into a hero, what do the rest of the community do? That he must be special, let's go to him. So the sick start coming, they start bringing their sickly, their elderly, people who are in difficulties. You know, I have this difficulty, I'm not able to walk, I used to be able to walk. So then that child will go there because he's reached that level of his relationship and his yaqeen with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when a person reaches that level, you become mustajab al-da'wat, that your du'as get readily accepted. So he would make dua for the people, and with the order and injunction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his permission, the people will get cured. Now this continued to happen up until this extent. The king, he used to have his cabinet members, like in the round table, all the very, very, very close people to the king. One of them, he has become blind. He has lost his eyesight. right? He started to lose his eyesight due to old age or whatever other issues that he was having. So he could no longer be in that majlis. He could no longer be in that inner circle of the king. Now, after some time, he returns to the majlis and he returns to the round table. And everybody's astonished that we thought you became blind, we thought you lost your eyesight. What happened to you? He says, no, I went to this particular boy, right? Then they asked him, who returned your eyesight? Who returned your eyesight? Because they would think it's a magic trick. And he says, Allah returned my eyesight. Allah returned my eyesight. And then the king says, you have any other Allah? You have any other God besides me? And this is where yani, the king, he becomes enraged. How dare you have any other deity, any other God besides me? And he starts to investigate the matter. What happened? No, I went to this boy, and this boy told me because other people were going to him, they were getting cured, and they said that you have to believe I cannot restore your eyesight. The God in the heavens, the Allah, the subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the creator of all things. He is the restorer, he's the taker away, he's the giver of life, he's the giver of death. I will make dua to him. If you have this iman, inshallah, Allah will restore your eyesight. So he goes to this particular boy and he learns iman and he gets his shifa. Now, this particular sheikh had told that boy, when he started seeing that after he did all of these miraculous things, he said that I don't see except that your khabar and your news and your information is going to begin to spread. When it reaches that time that the king comes after you, then don't give up my name. Don't say where you learned any of this wudu. So what happened? The king went to that particular cabinet member, to that particular vizier, and he said, this is that boy. So the king went to that particular boy. Where did you learn this from? You have any other God besides me? Yes, la ilaha illallah. So where did you learn this from? And then the boy, he said, I learned it from that particular sheikh. Now what happened? That particular sheikh, the king went after him. He became shaheed. He became martyred. Because again, sometimes it happens that the student, they will outrank even their ustad, their sheikh, because that was theoretical knowledge. This is practical knowledge. This is first-hand knowledge, right? This is on a whole ilm al-yaqeen on a whole different level. So that particular sheikh, he understood that this boy has now outranked me. Because I was teaching him by theory, he has this first-hand knowledge. So the king sent out some whatever of his army, whatever of his police force, as assassins, and he went, and that particular sheikh became shaheed. Now the king said, okay, we are done with one. Now let's settle the case with this child. I cannot have this particular cancer of iman spreading in my society. These couple of believers that are here, we're gonna show them that we're gonna take care of their particular leader now, this boy. So he sent a particular contingent of army people, police people, whoever he had at his disposal, that take this particular boy, take him to the top of the mountains and fling him off the top of the mountain. And come report back to me when this job is done. Okay, as you wish. So these particular policemen, army men, whatever, they come, they grab the boy, and they climb the top of the hill, climb the top of the mountain. But this particular boy, he's no ordinary boy. He has yaqeen. He has complete conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And every single one of us, we should learn this dua that he recited. I myself, I make it a regular practice. It's so short, but the conviction behind it. As they're taking him, he just recites the following dua. Allahumma kfinahum bima shit. Allahumma, oh Allah, ikfina. Be kafi, be sufficient. Suffice us, suffice me in regards to these people, bima shi'ta, however you wish. Take care of them for me, however you wish, O Allah. Small, short, very brief dua, but the conviction behind it, that connection that he had with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As soon as he makes this dua, there was a tremor, there was a trembling And from that particular mountaintop, these army people, these police people, the king's men, they all fell to their death. And the boy walks back into town. The king finds out what happened to my contingent, what happened to my people that I sent out, my henchmen. They tell him, "O king, O sire, they're all dead." This is what happened. Mission failed. So obviously the king gets upset. He goes, "Send another contingent, send some more henchmen. Take that kid, this time, put him on a boat, take him out into the river, take him out to the ocean, and make him walk the plank and drown him in the middle of the ocean." Right? Rid this entire ummah of this particular pestering child. Okay. So they took him, and there's no, from the kid's side, right? There's no, he's not misbehaving, he's not doing, he's going along with them, right? No disobedience, he's going along with them. And as they get into the middle of the ocean, and they're about ready to throw over the top, he makes the same dua, Allahumma kfinahum bima shi'ta. But oh Allah, suffice me in regard to these people, however you wish. And as he makes that particular dua, that particular ship, all of these things, they begin to drown. All these people that were on that particular ship, the waves come, whatever comes, they fall overboard, they drown. But this particular boy, he's saved, somehow manages on whatever plank that's left of that particular ship, he's saved back on shore. He walks back into the town, and nothing has happened to him. The king asks other people, "Is the job done? Are we rid of that particular boy?" And then the khabar and the information begins to spread in society, and by now everybody knows what's going on. The king is trying to kill this boy, and this one small little boy is outwitting the king. So this king is claiming to be the god. This king is claiming to be Rabb. He can't even kill this little boy. And this little boy and his Rabb, this small, minuscule, little, weak little boy and his Rabb are defeating the king. Imagine how this news begins to spread in society. And then the king, he's fed up. And the boy comes and speaks to him directly into his face that, "You want to kill me, yes? Yes, I want to kill you." He said, "You're not going to be able to kill me. Allah will not give you the right to kill me. You will never kill me." Because he had that yaqeen and that connection. "But if you want to kill me, I will tell you how you can kill me." How you can kill me. He says, "I want you to gather this whole entire kingdom of your people, in the biggest majma that you have, in the biggest coliseum that you have, and I want everybody to be witness there. I want you to tie me to one of these pillars under this post. I want you to take you yourself as the king, not any other henchman. You take the bow and arrow, take the arrow from the quiver, put it there and aim it at me when I'm tied to this post. But the only way you're going to kill me is when you release the arrow, you have to say Bismillah. In the name of Allah, that Allah who is the real Rabb, Rabb al-Alameen, the Lord, the creator, the sustainer of the entire universe." So this king did as he was told, gathered everybody there, took the quiver, and he mentioned the Bismillah audibly so that everybody would hear the Bismillah. He shot the arrow, and that particular child, as that arrow went, he became one of the highest ranking maqam of a shaheed that a person could fathom. But what had happened? He had sacrificed his life for the Islam and the Iman of the whole of society. Now all the people understood practically that Allah is the Rabb. La ilaha illallah. We have no other Allah, we have no other ilah, we have no other Rabb, right? Nothing can happen. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. They learned the lesson of this Iman and this yaqeen at the hands of this little boy. Now the king had a situation on his hands. All of these people that we tried to divert away from the deen of Islam, to divert away from Iman, to believe that I am the Rabb, they've all turned away to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what's left? What is the only card left that the king can play? I'm going to threaten your lives. And this is what Dajjal is going to do, what we discussed in Jummah. What are you waiting for? The emergence of Dajjal. When he comes out to test the level of Iman of the Muslims of that day, I am your Rabb. He's going to make the same statement. And many of the Muslims will turn back on their deen, that we need to eat, we need to survive, right? We have children to worry about. They will sell and they will barter their iman and their akhirah just for the dunya. When everything is in the hands of Allah anyway, if you're going to eat or if you're going to starve, it's not in the hands of Dajjal. It's in the hands of Allah. If you're going to be rich or if you're going to be poor, it's not in the hands of Dajjal and his system or his government or in all of the handouts. It's in the hands of Allah. So it's a complete test of iman. Who do I really, truly believe is the sustainer and the provider and the guide and the deity and the Rabb? But when that time comes again and society is going to make that full circle when Dajjal comes out, do we have what it takes? So the only card that was left, if you are not going to turn away from that religion, then I'm going to kill you all. So he had all of his people that were there in his army and everything else on his side. They began to dig the ditches. Ukhdud, khad, digging the ditches, loading up, right? With fire and fire and fire and fire, making a huge fire, right? For the people who are not going to turn back on their deen. What do we need to do? What's the purpose of this whole story? It's not for entertainment. The purpose is that we put ourselves in their shoes. What if I was tested? What if I was in this predicament? Do I have what it takes to allow myself to be thrown and flung into the fire to save my iman? Do I cherish my deen, my iman, this much? Or am I going to sell my deen just for a couple of days in the studio? And the story continues and it mentions, and I'll conclude with this. There was one mother. She had iman, she had yaqeen, she had full conviction. The only thing was that she had her baby little suckling infant in her arms. That I will die. I don't fear that fire. But what about my little child? What about my little baby? What's going to happen to them? And some of the ahadith and narration mentions that there are about 3 or 4 children that spoke in the cradle. One of them being Isa alayhi salatu salam, yani one of them being the qissa and the story of Jurayj, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was a very pious person. Yani one was, what was the other one? Yusuf alayhi salatu salam's qissa, the one, the shahidun min ahlihi. And then the 4th one being this particular child of Ashab al-Ukhdud. So the mother would take 1 step back from the fire, thinking about her child, 1 step forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward. And then when looking at this particular child, the child spoke to the mother, go ahead, take the step, mother, take the step. And when Dajjal comes, the hadith mentions what? In his right hand there will be fire, in his left hand there will be water. The fire that Dajjal comes with, in reality, will be what? Sukoon, tranquility, and water and peace. And what he has to offer you of the luxuries of the water will in reality be the fire. So go ahead and take that step into the fire. Just like the Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was asked, from all of the years that you spent on this earth, what was the most best time that you ever experienced? And he said, when I was in the fire. When they tried to fling me in the fire for my iman, my Allah made it, that is the best moment I ever experienced in this dunya. So the lesson for that in us, right, in a very metaphorical way, is whatever difficulties and hardships that the dunya throws at us, whatever fire outwardly seems to be coming at us from the dunya, if we are facing this fire because of our iman, if we get fired from our job because of my iman, if I lose my house because of my iman, if anything that happens, I get kicked out of the school because of my iman, whatever fire that you can throw at me because of my iman, I'll readily take it because there's going to be sukoon and peace and tranquility in that form. As opposed to me selling out my deen to save my job, selling out my deen to enter a school, selling out my deen for X, Y, or Z. There's not going to be any sukoon, any happiness, because Allah won't be happy. May Allah give us something to understand. Sorry for taking out extra time, inshallah. Sorry, yeah.